launch.
The first private rocket to launch on a mission to the International Space Station.
Every bit of adrenaline in my body released at that point.
And now we know there were some unannounced guests on board. A spacecraft is orbiting the Earth and heading toward a hookup with the International Space Station. And what makes this unique is that it's the first time a private company has sent up such a rocket. Before now, only large governments carried out missions like this one.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And launch of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket.
Falcon 9 lifted off early this morning from Cape Canaveral. The Dragon space capsule on board carries 1,000 pounds of food, water, and clothing for the astronauts on board the International Space Station. Technical problems forced the company to abort the first launch attempt on Saturday, just a fraction of a second before liftoff. This time, it was all systems go. Here's the moment when the rocket's first stage fell away. Look at this thing. The second stage ignited to push the capsule into orbit. Everything is running perfectly, they tell us. The founder of SpaceX said getting this thing off the ground was like winning the Super Bowl, and NASA offered some congratulations.
Today marks the beginning of a new era in exploration, a future in space that will create good-paying jobs here on the Florida coast as well as throughout the United States of America.
NASA administrator says he could not overstate the significance of this day, but make no mistake, all this is only the first step, and there are some very serious hurdles to overcome now. Phil Keating's in our Florida newsroom for us this evening. Phil, tell us, as we move forward, what happens next?
Well, Shep, over the next few hours tonight, some key maneuver tests for the Dragon capsule. It will perform a full abort test as well as a free drift in space test. If all goes well, then Friday, the big money day for SpaceX, success or failure of this mission. And that's when residents on board the space station will either use the big robotic arm to grab Dragon, bring it in and dock it, or decide against it. I recently asked astronaut Don Pettit via satellite up to space how confident he is now to fly home in a private spacecraft.
We shouldn't be surprised if we do see some catastrophes happen, and what we need to do when those do happen is just regroup, sharpen our pencils, figure out what went wrong, work on improved version, and keep going.
Of course, the only way down back to Earth now is via the Russian-built Soyuz capsule, but if all goes well with SpaceX, its founder Elon Musk hopes to begin taking humans in 3 or 4 years.
They did have some special guests on board this thing, it's my understanding.
Yeah, the ashes of about 300 space enthusiasts, fanatics, they're all on board in their ashes, little lipstick-like canisters, and right now they're orbiting the Earth. They'll do that for the next year or so and then eventually burn up into the atmosphere. That includes the ashes of the actor James Doohan, who played Beam Me Up Scotty, the engineer on Star Trek, and the ashes of legendary Mercury astronaut Gordon Cooper. The company that does this is Celestis, based out in California. It charges $3,000 per person for one final lifetime flameout, where you eventually become a microparticle of future sunsets.
All right, Phil Keating in our Florida newsroom. Phil, thanks.